So just a quick introduction about me. I've been involved in the fashion industry for 20 years, working for brands such as Reese, Burberry, Kilgore Shrimps, who have managed and manned businesses and the operational sides of the companies. I've also got my own fashion consultancy where I'm on the product side for brands such as Caravana, and have grown and launched 8 startups over the past 7 years, including Thames, Quintana, Prow, etc. So during this experience, I've witnessed how hard it is to make fashion businesses profitable, mainly due to the high levels of stock that are required to meet sales targets and the uncertainty around meeting the sales figures due to economic factors and trends. So minimums are always high for startups, and money is constantly tied up in excess stock. With lead time so long, the working capital required is very high. So last year, I found a digital twin with the aim to try and pioneer new ways of working so that we can help build a more sustainable and profitable fashion industry. With Digital Twin, we provide a retail platform for creators and influencers. And we work with them to create their own digital fashion collections for a profit share. We then make the digital item, which they can use in the metaverse in 3D rendering to test demand. And then once the sales have come in and they like the style, we make the garments on demand in our own micro factory. And we also take the digital products into the metaverse for more revenue opportunities. So today I'm going to talk about how can digitization improve sustainability and profitability within fashion. So as we discussed before, and lots of brilliant speakers before me have talked about how the problems within the fashion industry. So all of the problems essentially can be improved by moving to a digital model. So, overconsumption and production, like 30% of goods produced and never sold, greenhouse gases, fashion produces 10% of greenhouse emissions annually, waste, fashion accounts for 4% of the world's waste, 5% of the world's landfill, fossil fuel, 350 million barrels of oil used annually. Supply chain issues, this is big. Lead times average 5 to 6 months for luxury brands, and this is increasing at the moment due to all the issues with COVID and supply chain freight. Actually, people are being asked to book raw materials like 8 months in advance, and imagine all the cash flow tied up with that. Traceability, counterfeit industry was valued at 464 billion in 2019. Water consumption, 20 trillion gallons used annually for textile production, and economic damage, 1.5 million to 100 jobs lost in 50 communities by moving production overseas. So how digital goods and 3D rendering can improve sustainability and profitability. So according to DressX, the production of a digital design emits 97% less carbon dioxide and saves 3,300 litres of water on average. The demand for sustainable fashion is obviously there. Like over the past 3 years, there have been 25 million posts and 400 hashtags on sustainable fashion on Instagram. So one of the big uses of 3D rendering digital fashion is for social media. So 9% of fashion is bought, I think Marta touched on this really well as well, 9% of fashion is bought for social media purposes. Rendering can be used instead of seeding influencers. So I think just for example, if 2,000 gifts were sent to influencers, that could cost a brand $700,000. It's huge. So lots of brands are looking to do this. Well, Farfetch are leading it at the moment, but hopefully it will catch on, because it's such a way, so many samples created just to gift. And it's also, it can be used to test designs before going into production. It's also great, so 3D Clo and Browseware, other design softwares are great for efficiency during product development. So development times can be reduced by 8 weeks. Samples can be reduced by, from like 3 to 4 to 1. 60% is saved in fitting fees, and it's 28% faster to approve these samples. So if we think about the blockchain and the benefits of digital fashion with blockchain and how it can improve fashion industry. So the blockchain technology allows transparency and traceability as all transactions are recorded permanently. You know, the ICT sector that powers digital fashion is a source of greenhouse gas emissions, and NFTs, which are recorded mainly on Ethereum, are highly consumptive of energy. So for brands looking to take their climate footprint seriously, then perhaps moving into Web3 isn't truly viable at this stage. But I think if we're to discuss sustainability properly, we need to really ensure that the blockchain that's being used is energy efficient. You know, and Zilliqa, Flow, Near, Kudos are ones that are focusing on this at the moment. So I mean, NFTs are a great way for brands to provide utilities to their customers through digital ownership. And they can also help with retention, exclusivity, resale opportunities, and matching one-of-one. So when we come to the slides later, we're talking about phygital, we're talking about matching an NFT, which is registered on the blockchain with a physical garment. And you know that they're both compatible with the QR code. Gaming is obviously huge for digital fashion. I mean, skins is now a crucial part of the business model for the free-to-play that dominating the gaming industry, and account for 80% of 120 billion spent on digital games in 2019. So gaming and market affiliation and brands getting into selling skins is going to be big revenue streams, extra revenue streams, and we're looking at it from an influencer perspective, where influencers can make extra revenue from partnering with gaming influencers. Then of course we have the transparent supply chain, which has been discussed before. So basically everything is going to be, you know, if we're looking at the blockchain, every single transaction from raw material right through to the production will be monitored on the registered on the blockchain, and you can have for once a transparent and visible supply chain, which is so critical because we're talking about sustainability. Often we don't know where anything comes from, to be honest, and there's no QR code like there is with food. Food has, you know what fats in it, you know what sugars are in it, you know everything about that product and how good it is for you. We don't have that yet, and hopefully through the blockchain, we'll start to see this more and more. Definitely with digital twin, it's what we're doing. So another big use case, I think, for digitalization is to use it to test before you buy, you know, to try to reduce returns. So over 30% of goods purchased online are returned by consumers, many of these ending up in landfills, taking 100 years to decompose. You know, American customers returned a huge 428 billion of goods. So also virtual try-ons can increase in conversion by 97%. So just by using AR, we can actually increase conversion and reduce returns. I mean, it's really, really important. And I think the 78% of consumers expect to have AR now when they go, like in the future, when they go shopping for clothes. I think whatever we can do to try to reduce returns is absolutely massive. I mean, it just hits everyone's bottom line. And then another way, especially we want to work with digital twin, is a virtual changing room in the metaverse. So you go and you personalize your avatar, face simulation, body stimulation, body scanning, and then you can go into a virtual changing room, try on a garment. You actually can see it on your virtual self, click through, and then your garment gets made after you've buyed it, after you've tried it on. So that all of this can really help decrease waste, increase conversion, and hopefully test markets before you buy anything. So now let's talk about the digital. So we will always need clothes, but we need to think about how digital fashion can impact physical fashion. Of course, it won't replace it. So how can we make physical fashion more sustainable? So creating a digital asset from an existing fashion collection and selling in the metaverse or gaming is not solving the issue of waste and overconsumption. At the moment, most brands are kind of entering with a truly formed brand. They've designed and developed a collection, Whether they've done it in 3D or not is questionable. They then produce the collection, thousands and thousands of units, and they then create the digital design, do a test in the metaverse to try it. I mean, it's huge marketing purposes at the moment, but it's not actually solving the problem of sustainability. We're not reducing the amount of waste that we're making. We're simply just saying, here's another revenue stream to actually test it out in and create some noise. So really what we're trying to do with digital twin is flip it. So nothing is created before a digital design. Digital design comes first. The creator creates this, and then it's designed and developed. It's developed. So basically, if the digital design is kind of popular, they can test it in AR and 3D rendering if they like it. We can develop the patterns, do the product, you know, produce a collection. And then, only then, once we know that this product is popular and there's a demand for it, do we produce it. And we produce it in the micro factory network that we're currently building up. By January, we hope to have one of our own micro factories that can produce on demand, which I'll go to next. So I don't know, because I'm on my phone, if this video is going to work. Oh, I don't think it will, but there's an amazing video that we created that actually just shows the whole process through from when you buy. We bought an NFT, created it into digital colors, mapped it out, and then we created the 3D digital design in Clo, and then printed it on demand with a technology called Cornet, which prints a garment in 10 minutes. Well, actually 5 minutes. The whole garment can then be made in 10 minutes. So from uploading the garment, the pattern into the printer, we could have one garment out the other side and made laser cut, made in the micro factory within 10 minutes. So the benefits of on demand. So obviously moving to an on-demand model is the only truly sustainable way of producing clothes. Digital printing, it saves, so the Cornet printers that we're partnering with, they produce 96% less water. They use no water, it's all pigment, 95% less energy, 83% less greenhouse gas emissions, and it can print one garment. So many of the issues with startups and smaller brands when they want to get started, if you want to go to Turkey, you want to go to Portugal, these places will ask for like 100 units minimum per style. I mean, for a brand that has to tie up all their money in inventory that hasn't even tested the market, is crazy. And that's why so many startups and smaller brands fail. So the advantage obviously with on demand is that there's no cash flow issues. No money tied up in inventory, no money tied up for 6 months, 8 months while you wait for your stock to be made. You only produce once funds are received, and the less working capital is required. So it's great for startups and smaller businesses. It's also great for bigger businesses who should trial it on a small basis. And then we have the micro factory, which obviously encourages onshoring. It's agile and it's set up for small units. And we're building this network of micro factories, as I said, at the moment. We aim to have our first one in London in January. And then this is a video that I won't be able to play, but it's just showing how the printer works on demand, the pigment printing using no water. And so why digitization is the future? These are just some like the 4 notes to really take away, which I think just fundamentally made me realize why we just really need to intrinsically change the way that we work. So digital samples replacing physical samples during design and development dramatically reduce the brand's footprint up to 30%. Then the value of the UK clothing and footwear market, returns market, is set to grow by 5.8% to 4.4 billion in 2026, up from 4.2 billion in 2021. And 3.2 billion in 2019, so it's huge. UK returns are now 55% higher than they were this time last year. So using AR and virtual try-ons is really, really critical to try to reduce this over just complete waste that ends up in landfill. Also, the fashion industry has a 3 trillion market value. If we move to a circular digital industry, it would be worth 5.3 trillion, which just goes to show how much waste is created. And then this is to do with Cornet, the digital printer specifically. By 2026, their digital printing technology will enable the production of approximately 2.5 billion apparel items in a responsible manner, saving 4.3 trillion litres of water and 17.2 billion kilograms of greenhouse gas emissions, and reducing overproduction in the fashion industry by 1.1 billion items. 100 billion items of clothing are produced annually. So it just goes to show there's just a bite size of this. If it's made on demand, will make so much difference. And then that's it. That's the end.